The people want their complaining.
We got to complain in public. I'll start the complaining before we get the show going. As a lot of people know, I went to have my colonoscopy on Tuesday.
I didn't know this.
A lot of people.
Well, I don't know where you've been because we talked all about it.
We talked about it in our chat.
He said a lot of people. I was hoping he didn't tell more than us.
No, Frank just asked me in the chat about it, and
wow. There are things you just shouldn't be sharing.
You got to start. I had to start
is on
Monday night by drinking the poison, and that stuff is poison, and it tastes terrible. And I thought I was going to throw up the whole time, and it was just the worst experience in the world. And it activates fast. Like 30 minutes after drinking that, I had to handle some business. And so I make it through the night. I'm scared to death to go to bed because I'm afraid of what's going to happen when I'm asleep. Yeah, it's like put a plastic sheet down or something like that.
Right.
And then I had to get up in the morning and start drinking more of the stuff, and it was terrible. So I go, and keep in mind, I had told them prior to doing all this that I have some kind of issue with anesthesia, where when I had my hernia surgery, I woke up during my hernia surgery. And they said I woke up because when I woke up, my mouth was all jacked up and stuff. And I was like, what? And my arms are all messed up. I was like, what happened? And they're like, you sat up during surgery and you became combative. And we had to call people in to hold you down and strap you in and all this other stuff.
I'm so shocked.
And then when I had to have an endoscopy, which is when they put a camera down your throat to look at my pancreas. And I woke up during that. So like while the guy's got the camera in my mouth, I woke up and I'm looking at him and he's, oh my God. And then they hit some button and I went back to sleep. And so this time I woke up twice. The second time I woke up, I'm looking at the TV and I can see my innards on the TV. And the guy's still roto-rootering, man. He's going to town. And I'm like, bro, you got to take it easy back there. And he's like, is it uncomfortable? I'm like, you want to find out? And he says to me, he goes,
well, then why are you backing up, sir?
He's like, well, we're only at a depth of 20 centimeters. I don't know what the F. I don't know. I don't know what's that far, dude.
It's yeah.
Well, that's what I thought, but it ain't. I went.
That's like your whole entire 4 inches, Ape. That's
it's something homophobic. Something.
It's 8 inches. It's not 4. It's 8. I asked Siri when I got home because I was mad about it. But they had to stop. They had to stop the project.
You told the old lady or 8 for real? I mean,
no. It was 8. Ask Siri right now, 20 centimeters. And so I got to do that shit again, and I got to do it in July. And this time they wouldn't do it at the hospital because my proclivity to wake up under anesthesia.
They're gonna put you out hard.
Yeah,
there's gonna be no witnesses.
And I'm like, I told you, bastards. I mean, I was hot.
The doctor in the house.
So that's the story. And but listen, it's important to get this stuff checked, guys.
Thanks, Lon.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
Did he say 2 millimeters, not 2 centimeters?
He said 20 centimeters is what he said.
20 centimeters.
20 centimeters. Oh, geez. 20 centimeters. You got like 3 feet in there.
Alexa, how far is 20 centimeters in inches?
20 centimeters is about 7.9 inches.
Told you.
Okay, so Lon had a typo.
Lon had a typo.
Yeah.
Lon, I used to trust you, brother.
Put him in timeout.
So usually they give you like Demerol or Valium and then Meclizine so you don't yak. And that's to chill you out. Sometimes usually Valium. I don't think they give Demerol anymore. And then they give you Propofol in the OR.
That's what they gave me, was Propofol. The Michael Jackson sleep aid.
I mean, dude, they give me I'm conscious, right, when they give me the Valium and everything, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I go in there, and the doctor says, hey, Jim, how are you? You're fine. Hey, we're done. What the hell happened? I don't remember nothing. Was I violated? Because I didn't enjoy it. I don't even remember it.
Hey, Jim, you want to go camping?
I was hoping to enjoy it, but I don't remember.
If we went camping, Jim, and you woke up with your pants around your knees, would you say anything?
But that's when camping's the ether rag.
But I mean, yeah.
Like
the ether
Propofol,
in the old
Propofol stuff you wake up from so fast. It's just like all of a sudden you're wide awake and you're like, oh, hey, honey, can we go home now? I want a cheeseburger. I want 7 of them.
They say that Propofol does not kill the pain. it just blocks it from your short-term memory so that it never makes it into long-term memory. So you don't ever recall how uncomfortable you were. But
I'm guessing they're going to give you the real stuff.
I'm not excited about it at all. The worst part by far is drinking the poison. That stuff is thick and nasty.
See, I told you that's different than
Doc
what
is
I
so
got.
helpful. You only have several more feet to go.
Yeah,
Well,
well, they were like, hey, we didn't even
the
really.
camera. Is it hanging on a hook like right there by the bed when
Yeah.
you're in? The camera's like 17 feet long, man.
Well, he told me, he goes, we didn't even really get around the corner. We got to, and he asked me, he's like, are you comfortable doing this awake? And I
Around the
was like,
corner.
no, I'm not. So
It's like an 80 meter. It's like an 80 meter full wave antenna they're going to shove up there.
right.
It
I
actually
mean, it was
is, yeah.
about the size of a
Light 'em up.
213 coaxial cable.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, doesn't it sound like 80 meters anyhow? And right now, I mean, shit.
It does.
Yeah, well, like, and
What you
then
guys say?
I was starving the first day because you have to fast and all that. And I'm like, I can't wait after this thing. I'm going to the taco shack and I'm getting tacos and all this other stuff. I was so nauseous that I didn't even eat after the procedure. I didn't even eat that day. And then
That's unusual. I've never had any nausea.
I think it was from the poison because, like, I swear I could still taste it. And I was like,
But see, I did mine the day before. Mine was just powder you mix in with a gallon of water and drink it, and it tastes like crap. But
Yeah.
makes me sick thinking about it.
it's
This
just
was just like a
nasty.
little bottle
Gatorade.
of serum that you pour into a glass and then you fill the measuring cup up.
Mm.
I was never so happy when I threw that measuring cup out when I was done with it.
That might be magnesium citrate. That's the other way they do it.
Well, that was
never done
one
it
of
that
the
way.
ingredients.
You got the
It
cheap
was like
stuff, I
sodium
guess.
citrate, magnesium citrate.
Yeah,
there's there's 3 of them in there.
It's going to be electrolytes so you don't dehydrate when you evacuate.
Oh, it was the Miller Lite.
I didn't have
Thanks,
any Miller
Scott.
Lite the day before, nothing.
I think you
That
got
was
enough
the
of it in
problem.
your system, though.
Yeah.
And well, they were like, drink clear liquids. I'm like, well, Miller Lite's clear, right?
It is
right.
clear. I mean, there's no
No.
real beer in there, so
Like
yeah, it's
water.
clear.
and I didn't have any the the day of the procedure that night. I didn't have any Miller Lite, so I was
Okay.
grouchy.
You should have.
I
You
was
should-
grouchy. Well, they were like, you can't mix it. You know, don't do any recreational drugs. Don't do any of this. Don't. And I'm like, man. And I was like, I can't enjoy myself.
See, the next time you go in for this, you get them back. You take Hollywood's advice and eat a lot of biscuits and gravy with extra chunky sausage in it. Skip the poison.
He was like, the
Go
good
on,
news
stick
is
that-
you were cleaned
Stick that
out.
tube up there. Stick that
You-
tube up there now, son. Mm-hmm.
He was like, the good news is you were cleaned out real good. Don't talk to me, man. Felt like punching this guy in the neck. I was so mad.
I think my next one is probably next year because I had polyps or something, so they want to go back every 3 years.
Well, I mean, I was waiting to wake up and be like, son, you're dying. You got all these problems. You're
You
not
know
going to make it.
I was thinking about calling out sick for tonight's show. I'm thinking I still
I
should.
thought you were.
Yeah. No, I get in at the end, so I don't have to hear this twice.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say anything beforehand.
Now, we
No,
didn't talk
we
about
just
this
now heard this.
before.
Right.
Just heard it now.
Oh, my God.
We had
But-
other drama.
But aside from the drama, it I'm not trying to discourage anybody from getting it done because it probably is an important thing for men of our age, i.e.,
Yep.
hams.
Yep.
Brothers.
Jean-Luc.
Frank,
So-
I always blame you. It's a default.
Yeah. So before we get started, does anybody have anything that they wanted to bring up or mention or any of that kind of stuff?
Not after that. I don't want to be associated with that.
I don't know how we can follow that.
Yeah, I can't top that.
Get your antennas at the
I-
thing on the thing below.
I-
Go there.
I can't
buy an
bottom that.
antenna.
All right, because of all the suffering I did this week, I was didn't put a whole lot of content together for today's show, but we'll get through it. We're going to talk a little bit about buying used radio equipment. And the reason is that there's a lot of uncertainty around the international tariff scenario. We'll just call it that. That's going on right now. I've been contacted by a number of vendors, not just amateur radio vendors, who told me that prices are going up. And I did a video about it, a release that ICOM made. And so I think that we can expect to see, at least if anything in the short term, an increase in the prices of radios. And a lot of people have been asking questions around, well, what is this going to do for the used amateur radio market? my personal opinion, and we'll ask these fellers what they think too, is that people will turn to the used market. As a result, demand for used radios will go up. We all took basic economics when we were kids. Demand going up will limit supply. And when you have high demand, low supply, you have an increase in price in the used market as well.
I think it's time to sell that 3000.
Yeah. Well, the other
It
thing
is.
is that amateur radio operators aren't real good about selling used amateur radio equipment. They tend to
got it.
charge you near or actually
Oh,
like I've seen used 7300 selling and people buying them for $999. And I think that their list is $1,100. And then you can usually get about $100 manufacturer's
Yeah,
rebate.
they were about 1,000 and people were selling them for like 1,300 and stuff,
Yeah.
like the original price.
I paid $899 for mine. I got it. I want to say it was in 2017. It might have been 18. I think I got it. It was 18. I got it at one of the Thanksgiving sale, the Black Friday sale in 2018 for $899.
I got one a year later, and it was $100 Visa gift card rebate or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was the same, basically the same price. Yeah.
But I would expect us to see new equipment prices continue to go up for a lot of it's driven by uncertainty, right? People don't know what's going to happen. So to protect their interest, they're raising the prices. Here you go. 818 for $2,000.
That
Oh,
seems
that's
like
cheap.
a legit price, LC.
Yeah. So Chris
Isn't
has
that
got
really-
a comment that we need to talk about though, because a lot of people think this, and Chris is a little tiny bit right and a little tiny bit wrong. Japan is not being tariffed. However, Japanese radios have Chinese parts in them.
Well, what I can tell you is that in the video that I did, I had a release from ICOM that was sent to North American dealers, and they were their Japanese radios. And they were talking about how they are going to handle the variations in tariffs, and it would be a separate line item included on the invoice that went to dealers. Now, what ICOM has is something called
Which they're going to
MSRP.
pass on to us.
Of course they are. And ICOM, most large manufacturers of anything have manufactured suggested retail price, which is the $1,100 for the 7300. They will give their dealer network an incentive to sell them cheaper. That's the rebate program that you see. So that way people will buy them from their direct dealer network and not from third parties, like people who might get a whole bunch of radios and then sell them through their own storefront that is not certified through ICOM or an ICOM direct dealer. So that's how that typically works. All of those folks somebody's going to pay the cost, and those costs always go down to the consumer.
Well, I think you nailed it with the used market. When I got my license in 19, I was going to go used market, not drop a whole ton of cash into buying new stuff, until I started looking around and seeing 1970s tube radios for, 2019 prices like they just came off the line. I've made 1,000
Man.
TIFOs on this. Well, good
I
for
want
you,
a tube
Pop,
radio.
but
Well, the
God,
thing is
Only
that
1,000? That's
warranty is
barely
pretty
used.
important. Right, a
metaphor.
warranty is a pretty important thing to have,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
especially if you're new to amateur radio, right? Like, so if I buy a radio from Gigaparts, a ham radio outlet, MTC, RNL, and I have questions, I can call them and ask them. A lot of times when you see these radios being sold on like eBay, what's up, Hayden? When you
what's
see
up, you
these,
wanker? How you doing, buddy?
Numpty.
well, I mean, look, he's choosing to live in an expensive place. When
That's 5,000 Australian, so 800 US.
800
Yeah.
US.
So what I'm saying is you see people who sell stuff and they're like, it's sold as is, or it works as it should, or no returns because of parts
Due to
swap.
parts swappers.
All right.
Right. And so as a result, I wouldn't advocate buying used radios from an unknown person. Right. Now, when I do buy stuff and these
Good
guys have seen
question,
me do
James.
it, when I buy equipment at the Ham Fest, I take a picture of the guy I bought it from.
Holding his
okay.
call sign up. I bought a radio at a ham fest that don't work.
Look,
Yeah.
the community will track you down if there's a problem with this.
Get the posse.
Yeah.
Where's my shovel?
But if you can buy stuff from members in the club or folks that you're protected a little bit there, because bros typically don't want to do bros that they know.
You don't
over
want a
30.
reputation inside of a club. This is my friend Ronnie here. Ronnie's doing me good because I gave him a good working radio.
Yeah, so I mean, if they're part of a community that you belong to, you're a lot less likely to have trouble. Where people will be honest and say, "Hey, I'll take this back." or help you fix it or help you get it working if there's some confusion around there. So there's some of that. But buying from strangers, I think is a risk that I probably wouldn't want to take. The other thing that I was going to mention is that you can buy used equipment from places like Main Trading Company, Gigaparts, and Ham Radio Outlet, DX Engineering.
Arnell.
Arnell.
Test them. They actually test them and rate them.
Yeah. ML. What is Martin?
ML,
whatever.
Martin Lynch and
Martin
Sons.
Lynch and
ML.
Sons, yeah.
MLands. MLANDS.
The Brits.
Martin Lynch and Sons.
We won't hold it against them for being British, but the Brits they do that there. But I got to tell you, I was on Gigaparts and they had a U7300, $999.
In my opinion, Gigaparts' used prices
Yeah,
are
a little outrageous.
they're like selling it. Oh, the box tape is broken. We'll knock $3 off of it. I mean, they're not.
Yeah.
They're selling that crap for damn near retail.
All right. Well, that being said,
Gigaparts, if you're out there, I apologize, but that's the truth.
Best radio ever.
No reason to apologize for the truth. I got one of those.
True.
yeah, I put it up there because it's
Sorry,
so
not
old.
sorry.
Got one of those too.
So does anybody know when this radio came out?
Depends on model. There's two models. There's a non-D and a D model.
I think this is the non-D, is the one I'm talking about.
How do you tell the difference?
It would say on the radio.
They'd be
Let me
proud of it in the price
I'll
tag.
grab mine and see if it does say. Hang on.
But I think it was 2004 when it came out. And I know that we like to bang on radio companies and talk about innovation and how they don't. What does yours say? Does it say 857D or 857?
Mine just says 857,
Mine
So
just
you
says
gotta-
857.
but I believe it's a D.
Why? That's why I'm asking. I mean, how do you discern a D?
I would
from
look
a
at the
non?
FCC ID sticker, and it should be on that.
It just says 511B-FT857. I'm gonna have to have a talk with Tom.
I have 1DK88FT-857.
Yeah, I would think that they would have to get a new.
It's not 1D, it's ID, Jim. Put your glasses on, old man.
Well, I got my glasses on, but it's tiny weenie.
I don't talk about your tiny weenie. We finished the 80-meter conversation.
All right, well, so let's
Yeah.
let's talk.
So
a
is
little
yours
bit
the
about
D or not, Jim?
It doesn't say D anywhere on it. It just says 857 everywhere.
See, my 817 says ND on it. There was 817 and the 817 ND.
Yeah, see, then I would say that TO and I don't have a.
So does
a
does
D.
the top have a DSP switch? It's it top switches third from the left.
Yes, I have a DSP.
Yes, I have the DSP.
So I think that is it right there.
That's how you tell you have the D? Yeah, the
That's what the
DSP.
D, I think that's what
Because
the
you
D
want the
stands
D.
for, right?
Is that it, Steve?
All the D. Yep.
But so my point was that this thing came out around 2004, I believe, and we give radio manufacturers a hard time around innovation. I'm not saying this is a bad radio, but if you compare that to what's coming out now, you can clearly see innovation in the amateur radio space. Does it accelerate at the same rate as other consumer goods like cell phones and laptops? I don't think so.
No.
but there's definitely there's definitely newer technologies coming out.
Well, I have an opposite view on that. I'm not arguing with you. It's just a difference of opinion because there are so many things in this space. I have an FTM 6000 and I have an FT 8800. And I actually had to go out and figure out what the real differences were. And the 6000 is supposed to have a better menu system, but it's not full duplex. That's it. Those are the two big differences. The 6000
Yeah.
has a better menu system. The 8800's got full duplex.
I do think that it depends a little bit upon like the feature set and the type of radio that you're buying there. But like if you look at like a flagship product from Yaesu, like the 510 now or the FTM 500, and you compare that to a dual bander from 10 or 20 years ago, it's a significantly different radio, right? Now you're paying.
It is, but is it a difference that you or I or the average ham can actually use? Like we talked about this before, the 7300 has about 10,000 features and we're only using 12 of them.
Well, I think that most people don't use their equipment to the fullest potential.
Yeah.
And I'll even go a little further and say that I think most people don't even use their equipment, right? I think that more people like to buy stuff than use it.
Accumulate versus use. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I went back and I watched the show that we did. I wasn't there for the wish list for all the features on the
First
HT.
meter. Yeah.
if radios had that many features, they would be priced higher than this D75 from Kenwood, right? And nobody's buying
Yeah.
those because they're saying they're so expensive. I think
But we'll
the ham
happily
radio-
buy an iPhone every 2 years at $1,000.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Only 1,000?
people use their iPhones 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day.
Stream
right?
math. I would love to use my radio 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day.
But
Yeah.
I think that ham radio operators have champagne taste, and they have Bush budgets. You know what I mean?
I
Like
would,
they-
say
budgets.
I would say they're cheap.
well,
Yeah.
I think that they want all these features, but they don't want to pay for them,
Hey.
and I think that that's part of the challenge.
Mm.
We got some housekeeping we need to hit
Let's do it.
before you continue. So we got a lot of member milestones. So Wayne has been a member for 9 months, and he's pimping an ICOM 745. I had a 746 Pro, which worked fine. It's a big
Thank you,
hoss.
Wayne, for being a member.
Wayne, you all right?
Thanks, Wayne.
Cooley, member
Thank
for
you,
13
Cooley, for
months.
being a member.
California Ham Radio Frank, 14 months.
We got another stream on Saturday. You got one more chance after today for your use it or lose it membership milestone freebie.
That's right.
And Frank, you still need to learn how to solder. Grouch has been a member for 6 months.
Once.
I
Thank you.
Rookie
assume
numbers.
that- Rookie numbers. Grouch, yeah. Arthur has been a member for 22 months. Thank you, Arthur.
Arthur,
Thank
up
you,
there.
Arthur.
And Air Hammer, the Ronster, has been a member for 27 months. Not feeling good now about the deposit on the FT1XF to be released. I would guess in 3 weeks.
Well, they said that they probably won't be released for data.
Oh, they won't be? Okay.
yeah.
I
So
think,
they said that they
John
will
said
have
that
a
on-
working,
on- what's
a
his
working
name's-
model at Dayton for people to finger.
Hamman has been
He'll
a
be
member
under
for
glass
12
again.
months.
Thank you, man.
He bought my KX2 from me before Steve could buy it out from under me.
Mm.
Andy Cowley has been a member
I
for
approve.
35 months.
Woo, that's a record.
But not
Not-
of Joe Brett. Let's just put that on the table. I do not approve of Joe Brett stealing the ATAS that you stole from me off underneath of me and then still not even getting it.
That is lost by UPS. Jean-Luc Gendron has been a member for 13
Thank you,
months.
John.
Our favorite Canuck, Jody,
Thanks, John.
has been a member
Thank
for
you, Jody.
28
Thank you.
months. He wants an IC7000. I'm kind of interested in one of those too. They look cool.
They're a cool radio. They drift a little. Get a little hot.
Thank you, Mr. Bricker.
They
Mr.
get really
Bricker,
hot. You got to buy the older versions.
18 months. And Marvin Dreesen has been a member
Thank
for
you,
24
Marvin.
months. Used FT2000, big upgrade from FT840.
I think we got a big enough
Yeah.
blast of membership milestones in there. I think we need to dance.
I think we can do that.
I need to hit it. Hold on. Turn off the loop. I'm doing it.
Okay.
Where is it? Where is it?
Take your time.
Wow, there's so many of them in here. Thank you all. You guys are awesome. Dancing a little too fast.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
He needs some milk.
All right. So when we're buying used radio gear,
There
people
you
say, "Well, why would I buy used gear?" And like Jim was mentioning earlier, it's an affordable entry point for amateur radio folks to get into the hobby. Potentially not breaking the bank. Hopefully, you buy a good radio that works, and you don't have to end up buying 2 of them. Generally speaking, you can find used inventory, and we'll talk about places that you can do that. So it is abundant. And if you buy it right and you get it from somebody you trust, it could be a smart investment. And if you buy radio equipment that's not that old, you could probably sell it for what you paid for it. Thank you, Don. Appreciate it very much.
See,
And
nobody makes this radio anymore. Nobody makes anything like this. The closest
Don-
is the 7100.
Don has gifted those memberships, and those
Yeah.
went to, oh my goodness, let's see, 10 of them. Chris W80X got one. Ted W got one. Ron Walensky got one. Digital Dreamer. Lee NN7X. Josh Perez. Earl Brown. Jake B.
Digital
And
Dreamer got one?
BK4GEO. Darren Archer. And Redzilla W1 Zulu Lima Alpha got one.
Jim, I'm going to need your help on this. Bill has dropped a $1.99 super chat to see Ape dance. Can you put him solo while I get the dance going?
why do I have to do it? So you know why?
'Cause he-
Because
he asked.
Because
Because he paid for it.
Because you
The-
guys
The
want it.
people have spoken.
They don't want
He's
to see you
using his
guys.
dollars.
dance.
He's dollar bills, man.
Thanks, Jim.
This is the music that I picked out. I think. Make sure you screen cap it, somebody.
Oh,
Do take the picture. Shoot the arrow. All the good dances. All right.
you guys are all right. Hi. What are we doing? StreamYard has messed up again.
I don't know if it's StreamYard.
We lost
we
Chuck.
go.
There he is. He's back.
Wow.
Okay.
That was
I
rough.
fixed it, man.
All right. Let me add this back. All right, there we go. And buying
Hey,
used gear
James.
can be a smart investment provided you get good equipment that is in working order. And you could probably get some good resale value out of that. Let's see. what we
So I
got.
did look it up. The 857D has the DSP and the other one doesn't. Chuck was
Mhm.
absolutely correct. So Tom, you're forgiven.
There you go.
Ham court is adjourned. Case dismissed.
Wonderful. Tom
Thanks for being a
say?
member, Jerry.
Jerry, thank you. Appreciate it. And Bill, thank you
Thanks,
for
Jerry.
that. We
Thanks,
all
Bill.
needed to see Ape throw down his dance moves.
Yeah, it was wonderful, wasn't it? We
Digital
laughed, we
signal
cried.
processing.
Holy
And,
moly.
Blue Boy
Thank you. Thank
has
you,
dropped
Blue.
a 1999 super chat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our
Appreciate
friend
it.
T.O. hit it. I think we-
All right.
Woo!
I don't
Appreciate
know
it.
what I'm doing. Thanks, Blue Boy.
One thing before Ape goes on and shows us his next piece of information, aka a slide. If you got gifted a membership, those will automatically expire in 1 month. So if you want to continue your membership, you need to go into your YouTube settings and extend it in there. And we would love to keep you around.
Because we
That'd be
think you're
awesome to have
wonderful.
around
There's
at
some
the next
confusion about
Thanksgiving
that
dinner.
sometimes. Yeah. Yeah.
So it had some benefits of buying used radios. Obviously, the first one's lower cost. And I said buyers can save 30 to 60%. If you're saving more than 50%, you're buying an old radio. And when I say old radio, I'm talking like 20 years.
I would
least.
love to have an old Heathkit.
Yeah, just have to keep it in working order, right?
Well, they come with all the schematics and manuals and instructions to fix it too.
Yeah, and then you just need the time.
Oh, I ain't got none of that. Never mind.
The other one is that the proven performance. A lot of the legacy radios are well-built, good radios that continue to work for years or even decades without a hitch or a problem. The one challenge is that unique features, like a lot of the older radios, a lot
Good
of people
question,
want to do
Chris.
things like FT8, and that's a little bit of a challenge. They won't sometimes have digital mode settings. They don't have USB sound cards built into them. They don't have waterfalls or touchscreens in many cases, and a lot of folks find that challenging. But it's not an overcomable situation. Problem is when you buy an older used radio that does not have a sound card interface, you're looking at about $100 to add one. So you have to add that onto the price of the radio that you're buying, and then that can be a little bit of a kick in the pants. I know that when I bought my radio, I was thinking I was spending all this money on ham radio. Little did I know what I was going to have spent over the next 5 years.
Just getting warmed up.
But it was like $1,000, right? And
Like a
and
boat.
then I had to buy a bunch of tow roids to make chokes because I had RF problems, right? And then I had to buy cables and all these other pieces and components, and it adds up fast.
We had a good
The other thing is,
question.
go ahead.
Well, we had a good question about what kind of gear do you think you need to test a used radio? And I assume he's talking about at a ham fest.
That's from Chris. Yes.
The thing that I would be most concerned about testing would be, does it power up and does it transmit, right? And
Pocket
so
battery.
I think you would need piece of coax, power SWR meter, and any power for that power SWR meter that you might need, and a dummy load, because I would at least want to see it transmit and put out the appropriate wattage for the mode that it's in.
So carry a 100-watt dummy load if you're trying to buy a 100-watt radio. Like
Yeah.
roll heavy.
Yeah, and then you could take a tiny SA, and then you could look at AM modulation, you could look at FM modulation, and you could look at things like that on that if you wanted. Tiny SA is pretty small, compact, but you would need the appropriate attenuators to make
Yeah.
connectors to make that happen as well.
So with the rest of
Yeah.
that question, they probably don't know how to use that.
Ed has thrown out a $5 super chat, and he wants to see you break dance.
Well,
like
I mean, I
like
can't. I'm not
1986.
breakdancing because I'm
Enough
happy
room.
to dance again, but
You
I'm
might
not.
break
But,
something.
right. but I don't have
break
the
the 8, man.
I don't have
Ed's
my
waiting.
cardboard.
Ed's waiting.
expression on the side.
You just take the picture, shoot the arrow. Those are all very popular dances. How long is this going to go on for?
He needs some milk.
We could do this all day. Y'all keep throwing in them super chats. We're
Y'all
going to have
keep
Ape
throwing-
just dancing nothing.
Abe will take
Nothing
his
else.
shirt off for the next $5 super chat, I think. So
Right.
Whoa,
All sweaty.
Whoa.
I'm getting
Yeah,
all
so if
sweaty
you
from all
go
the dancing.
to a really good ham fest, like Huntsville Ham Fest, there are other good ones too, but Huntsville definitely is where I did this, and Jim was there to help and witness. But you pick up your radio, you put your cash down, you say, I'm going to the test booth, I'll be back, and we'll finish this deal. And then you go over to the test booth, and they've got the power meter, they've got the dummy load, they've got the power supply, they've got the coax, and you can test your radio that you're thinking about buying. You can bring the seller over with you. You can, like, hey, you plug this thing in and show me it works. I don't want to hurt your radio or nothing, you know. So I bought that KX2, not KX2, the K2,
K2.
with Jim in Huntsville, and that's what we did. And it was pretty cool little test bench setup. They didn't have an antenna, but Mike N8YO was really cool. He's like, watch this, and he pulled a key out of his pocket and put it in the SO239, which is just enough to get some contact there. And we started hearing static, hearing noise floor. I was like, all right, this works.
Vlad has a question, and I think the answer is whoops.
Yeah, you're done.
Oh no, you can
that's-
fix that. You can Mars mod it.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
It's not easy. I got a video on doing that on the 6000 with a pair of hot tweezers. Y'all gonna like seeing that. It's so
Well,
easy.
it's not a difficult mod on
No.
the 500. Even Frank did it, right?
Well, he just had to take solder out, right?
Yeah, I mean, even
Not add solder.
Frank can remove some solder. We got more. We
He
got
gets more on the floor
housekeeping
than
to
he
do here, boys. I mean, they're
so.
just rolling in tonight. So let's see. We have
15 seconds of silence.
Whiskey
Starting-
and Tea has
Thank you,
become a
thank you.
new member, and we thank you for that. W1TEA Kevin, and then he dropped a $15 super chat on top of the new membership, and he wants awkward silence.
Did any of us start a timer, by the way?
It's 15 seconds.
It has to be.
I mean, it's more like a minute and a half or so.
Todd, if we're gonna do this, there's gonna be a fee associated with that. I'm just saying, if I'm gonna
Mm.
certify a radio, that's
Okay,
$20 to
John
test all your radios.
$2 super chat Vogue Gene. I don't know what that means.
Jim, you're so OM, you don't know how to
You're
vote.
so Vogue.
I don't dance, man. I was Baptist. It's like sex or something. I think. I don't know.
You don't sex either. Just that one time.
Son, I've been married for 33 years. I forgot what it was. I think P comes out of it. That's about it. Jody has dropped a $7.62
You're doing it wrong.
Canadian super chat and wants Ape to Vogue for an entire tune. So thank you guys all for your super chats. And
You're killing me, Smalls.
yeah. So, okay. All right.
Killing me.
I want to see Ape dance awkwardly for 2 minutes.
Well,
I
here
don't
we
know
go.
if I could contain my tears.
This is what I was thinking. The Mars mod does not fix a Yaesu Japanese.
I
radio
wasn't sure
from
about
John's
that.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't think it did.
No,
All right,
they
just
fixed
watch my video that comes out.
So you're going to go buy a Yaesu Japanese radio for the purpose of Mars modding it to see.
If somebody wants to send me one, I'll do it. But I Mars modded a US version of a Yaesu radio, and it opened wide open. I did
So
it a
what is-
couple
what
of
is-
times
said
now.
you can't
What
use
is he
an
trying to
HDMI,
do?
Hold a second.
HDMI adapter.
What is the
So
Mars mod?
It just opens.
Well,
up the
technically,
entire
Mars
band.
mod doesn't apply because it's not a thing on 2 meters. But what it is when you change the frequency from the designed, paid for, factory shipped version to expand to additional frequencies that the radio is not designed to accommodate. So it's really bad to do, but we all
But
like
it
to
is.
tinker
It
and
is
stuff.
designed to accommodate those, right? Because it's military and Air Force services, radio services.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
but
a
not on 2
military
meters.
affiliate.
Not
No, no,
on
but-
2 meters.
But beyond that, but the thing is that I'm pretty sure I did see John say that you can't. He said, "Don't buy the S versions of any of our products if you live out of country."
Yeah.
No,
Well, I
because
mean, somebody
they-
wants to send me one, I'll do it, and I'll prove it right or wrong one way or the other. But
And they
you know,
usually make
bands.
these things fairly easy.
they don't have the
Yaesu
same
does,
power.
at
Yeah.
least on the
The-
HTs, because that's
the
the
Japanese
same Mars mod
2 meter
for the
band is
FT70
different.
as for this.
than the US 2 meter band. And so you need like an extra half a megahertz or something like that. I don't know the actual
It's
spec,
it's
but
2 megahertz. It's the ITU.
2
region.
megahertz. Yeah. So
They
it's
don't do as
a
much power either.
very minor change.
No.
Yeah.
All
The
right.
power's different.
Yeah, right, Scott. It's jailbreaking. We all call it Mars mod.
Mars mod used to be something.
Right. I used
But
Mars
it
when
doesn't
I was
ap-
military, but it's
It doesn't apply to 2 meters. It's just that's the generic term that we call it, like assault rifle.
Well, a lot of the manufacturer or the retailers that sell the radios, like Gigaparts, will do a Mars mod for you.
Yes.
Will charge you
Mhm.
for it, but you have to give proof of like some sort of certification or ID saying that you're qualified, that you're
I heard
allowed
they
to
give
use
money.
it.
They don't check.
they don't check. Gigaparts took my 400 and Mars modded it without. The only thing they wanted was cash.
Right?
I think that's where I heard it from was Jim.
Right. The last thing I had on this one was really around rare finds. So a lot of times you'll be at the Hamfest and you'll see something cool that you're really interested in, that you want, that you don't see anywhere else. Something that you
Right.
have to have, like the ATOS antenna that Jim bought that Tio wanted.
Jerk.
That UPS lost.
I like how
So
he's
we had-
deflecting.
We had where to find the used gear, and I was hoping we would have time, but it doesn't look like we're going to do a little bit of used gear shopping. But a good place, like we talked about, is Hamfest and swap meets. Again, generally, if somebody seems shady or greasy or unwashed, I don't know if I would buy stuff from them.
How do you tell a shady, greedy, unwashed ham?
Yeah,
Isn't
you
that
can-
how they
you
all
can
are?
tell. You can tell some people are extra greasy looking. But that's why I said, like, I always take the picture, I'll make a video and put your face on it and we'll track you down.
Steven's got an interesting point. I'd be willing to test it still. I'm not saying that I'm right or wrong, but I'd be willing to test it.
Yeah, I don't know. Online platforms, so sites like eBay, QRZ. I wouldn't buy anything on QRZ. Facebook Marketplace, they host thousands of listings. I would stick to buying from, like I mentioned earlier, clubs, people online communities that have established members. Like if you went on even Toads, right, which we're all have a vested interest in. If some Johnny come lately came on there and started posting in Toads who's selling gear, I wouldn't advocate buying it from them. But if it's somebody that's been posting there for years and participates in our streams and stuff like that, that's a known person, I don't think I'd have any problem
A
with
real
that.
person.
Then we
I bought
have
a few girls'
retailers with used
before.
stocks. We talked about some of those, and then club sales.
Somebody you see in the Toads Discord a lot. Somebody you see on the stream chat a lot. Somebody who you feel is one of the community is one of the community.
Like a Chris Bricker, right? That's somebody that I think we all know, right? Who was just posting is why I'm using his name.
Yeah, Chris is a good guy. It wouldn't be funny though if I didn't take the opportunity.
So somebody was joking around saying, thank you, Chuck.
Chuck,
Um,
you tool. Thank
Somebody
you.
was saying about sniffing the radio. It sounds a little
Sorry,
weird,
Chuck.
but with electronics, when you're buying used electronics, especially expensive ones, it's not a bad idea to give them a pretty good sniff test to see if you can smell any burnt stank in there.
Cigarette smoke, yeah.
Cigarette smoke.
Don't want that smell in my house.
Well, I mean, somebody could.
I don't
smoke,
blame you. I don't want it in
smoke
mine
the
either.
vinyls.
Yeah.
But I don't think a lot of people are going to actually let you crack them open. Some folks do, like, yeah, open it up. But
Yeah, but you can give it a good sniff even without opening it. You can
yeah,
tell,
no, I'm just saying in general, look for burnt traces or anything like that.
like a fine cheese.
But I would inspect it for outer damage, rust, water exposure. Water exposure is probably a big one. I'd verify output power, receive sensitivity. Measure and receive sensitivity is not going to be an easy task, and that's why I don't think the Huntsville Hamfest booth checks the
Nah.
receive chain.
Nah.
So you might be a little bit.
It's not that special. There is one at Orlando Hamcation also.
Age versus perform. Well, the problem is like if you're down at Orlando Hamcation and you're out in the boneyard and somebody's got a boat anchor and you want to lug it all the way back there, you're going to be
Better
in
bring
for
a
it.
cart. Yeah. There was a guy at
or get
Hamcation
Nate to
who had
carry
a
the
golf
crap for
cart
ya.
with a bunch of dude was high, like literally high. Like I'm not assuming he was high. He was literally high. and he was driving around his golf cart in the rain with all his boat anchors on it, trying to sell. I'm like, those things just got rained on, and you're driving this thing through the bumpy ass field with no suspension. I don't think so. You're high in more ways than one.
You're high. Age versus performance. Older radios can perform well, but you do want to look at things like the LED. Like I know that there's certain radios that Chuck would get upset
Like
when I
Jim with his
mentioned.
tiger stripes.
Yeah, they can have certain problems. But you want to check for those. Make sure all the buttons work. Make sure the dial spins smoothly. It's not grainy or clicks or anything like that. And just give it a good solid once over. The other one is that a lot of times radios, you get somebody in there who thinks they're like getting a couple extra watts out of there by turning some screws, and that can cause you a little bit of
Like
problems.
the CB people.
Like the CB people, or somebody's like, "Hey, I put the mod in so I get my HDMI out on my 7300." So people do work on radios as part of what we do as hams. So you want to make sure that ideally you buy something mod free. And if it's not mod free or it's been worked on or repaired, there's some sort of disclosure statement around what they did. So you have some sort of idea.
Let
But
the
don't be
buyer
afraid to buy an
aware.
education either. I mean, if you're getting a $25 2-meter 70-centimeter dual bander, dude, you just made up in parts.
I literally did. I bought a $20 FTM 500 and it works great. Nothing wrong
But
with
if
TM
you-
500.
1500 FTM.
You did say
Yeah,
five,
this-
but that's right.
This
Did I
thing
say
said
500?
Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
But the thing is that you don't want to spend $900 on a 7300 for that to be your learning
Right.
experience.
Right. And that was what stopped me from buying a used HF rig, was when I started looking at those prices, and it's like there's no warranty on this thing. The
No shipping.
7300 is, $1,000. This is $850, and it has zero warranty, and that's, screw it, I'm buying new.
Yeah, it's not worth it. And then accessories and documentation. Everybody seems to go crazy over the original box, which I get. Like if I'm buying a used radio, I'd love if it comes with an original box, but I don't want to pay $50, $100 for the box. It's not that important to me.
That's
It's
right.
supposed to show that you care, but this radio is dead and I got to fix it. I bought an
Shows-
education with this.
Shows you have too much free time on your hands if you save all them boxes.
Well, it's space. It's not time. But
I'm
I
with
gotta
you,
find
Handman
it. I gotta
TT.
find a space.
yeah.
That takes time.
So this was just my guessing here is really around pricing guidelines for used ham gear, how to gauge fair value in a secondhand market. Modern transceivers, I put 60 to 75% if it's 10 to 15 years old. It's still in good working condition. Now that there is a rule that's probably for radios that are not in high demand. Things like a 703 Mark II-G from ICOM or the Yaesu 857 or 817. Those radios are in high demand, and you're going to pay more than
Mhm.
what the MSRP was at the time you could have bought it if you bought it new.
Yep.
But there are other radios that are 10 to 15 years old that you can get in that price range. Then you have legacy radios. These are from 80s and 90s, so you're talking 20 plus, 30 plus years old. You can get those for $200 to $500 depending on features and conditions. That said, we were at the Hamfest and somebody had a really sweet looking Yaesu 5000. The what is it? Was it the 5000D? It's not an FT5. Maybe it's FT 5000.
Yeah, it's the FTDX is the 5000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that thing was
No, it's-
expensive.
Yeah.
I think he wanted like $2,500 for it.
Did it have the pan adapter too?
It did, and it was
Yeah.
it was really
Which is nothing like the new pan adapters, but
no, but it was a really nice looking radio. But that was like he was asking a lot of money for it. And you're buying it no warranty. You have no idea if it works or not. It's just it's crazy to drop that kind of cash. The thing is that handhelds and mobiles generally sell a lot cheaper. It's the HF rigs that hold their value. So you could probably get around 50% off on the handhelds and mobiles. I just sold a mobile for like 30% of the list price or something, and it was practically brand new. But that person I sold to did get the pro price. Then the other one is that sometimes there's accessory or support gear that you can buy. This would be particular power supplies that are specific to a radio or tuners that are specific to the radio. I believe the ICOM 701, is that the military looking one?
I thought that was the
7200 is a military looking one.
The 7200. That had a tuner, I believe, that stuck to the side of it, and I think that some of the Yaesus had those as well. If you can get
That was
those, you could.
the.
I thought that was an
897?
add-on.
FT897 has the tuner stuck to the side.
Yes,
Yeah.
that you can buy.
Yaesu.
I want a 7200. I have no reason to, but I want it.
I want it in camo or pink.
You know,
Either
I
one.
want one too, and I want the Yaesu 450D. I think that's a pretty sweet looking radio.
I don't know
but
that one.
it's pretty popular.
That used to
Pull
be
it up.
the
You
best
wanna pull it up?
entry level radio you could buy back in the day before the.
But people go
7300.
berserk when you call them entry level radios.
Well, that was Yaesu's entry level.
Totally agree. People are like, that ain't a beginner's radio. I'm an expert. When you say something's a beginner radio, an entry level radio, it's because it's not complex. It doesn't mean it's not a good
Right.
radio, and it doesn't mean that you're not
Has less
killing it with
features.
radio. It just means it's not complex.
So that 450 was in the 450, 1200, 3000, 5000 range. That was all those radios were all from the 5000. As it went down to the 450, had less
Shipping from
whistles
Hawaii is
on
going to kill you, Jim.
Yeah, I know. But if I can get him to unload it, we'll see. He's probably like, this has only been used in the Hawaiian Islands on Sunday
Right, before church,
on the net, on the
Right.
Oahu net.
on the Oahu net.
Ohana, yeah.
low power. So I had some tips for buying safely.
That looks like
And-
me.
The one is asking detailed questions, but
Yeah.
here's the thing: if you're out there kicking tires and you really are unsure about buying stuff, don't waste people's time. There's no bigger
Don't buy
dick
it.
move than wasting somebody's time, especially if there's other people there who are ready to buy, and you if you have no idea what you're looking at or talking about, don't waste the guy's time. That's pretty rude. But if you are serious about buying and you are legitimately interested in, it's okay to ask those questions. But what I wouldn't do is ask somebody questions for an hour and then offer him 60% of what he's asking, just because, again, you're not a serious buyer. And you wouldn't want somebody doing that to you.
And the worst thing you can do is ask somebody, what's the lowest price you'll take for it? That means I have no negotiating skills. I want you to do all the work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're asking me that, that means you don't know what it's worth. So I'm going to lie.
Well, it means that you're not serious about buying it.
Right.
The other one
Or
is
you'd make a reasonable offer.
if you're buying something online, I think it is within your rights to say, hey, look, I want some more detailed photos of this. I'd like an angle from this side, maybe potentially crack the case and send me a picture of that.
Sniff it and record the sniffing on video.
Right. I think that is very plausible. And then we had Test It Possible. We talked about that using dummy loads, watt meters, power supply to verify stuff is working. And then I'd again look at the older radios, really inspect the display, because that's where a lot of them have problems.
Yep.
Display is not a difficult fix in many cases, but it is working, especially like if you solder like our friend Frank, you might not be able to do it, but it
Fact.
be prepared to potentially have to make some repairs there. And then if you're buying online, I would use secure payments like PayPal. I'm pretty sure Venmo and some of the other ones are equally secure, but that would definitely be something that I'd want some sort of buyer protection. So somebody doesn't send you a box with a cinder block in it, or no package shows up, or any of that kind of stuff.
So apparently there's a 7200 on Kijiji.
Which is Craigslist for non-US people.
Yeah, I had no idea what that was.
Or
Canada,
Backpage,
But I can't.
I wouldn't pay $1,000 for 7,200,
Gumtree.
especially if
I
it
was
was
gonna-
from somebody I
Yeah.
didn't know.
I think I've seen them for about 700 once or twice on RNL or MTC's used pages. Yeah, and that's the general consensus is that 1,000 is a little pricey, but that's a Canadian site. That might be 1,000 Canuck dollars, which is like $26 in America.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
Backpage is an
conversion.
Australian thing, Frank. It's not dirty. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Come on, Frank.
Flags to avoid untested gear claims, right? So this is where people like works as it should, or I can't test it, or worked last time I used it. Those kind of things. If I'm buying something expensive, I probably want a video of it working. but that's just me. I would be pretty careful about that kind of stuff. When stuff is no returns are sold as is, that's a little bit of a red flag as well. As a seller, though, I got to tell you, if I'm selling a radio, I don't want somebody monkeying around with it and then wanting to send it back to me. Because I could send them
Well, you
something in
get
perfect working order. They did do something to break it, and then they want me to refund it. So I understand
Get
that
it back with
perspective.
no parts inside. That was the
Mhm.
problem too.
Well, who knows, right? I mean,
What did I say? It's
I've seen people who claim to know what they're doing not know what they're doing. And the thing is that somebody else who's potentially new to amateur radio buying their first radio could very easily damage a piece of equipment without knowing it.
Right.
Visible damage. And this is things like look at the corners of the equipment. Like if it's dented in a corner, it's a good sign that it's been dropped.
Like it looks like it came off of a picnic table in a very minor wind.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry, Grouch.
So you just want to give it make sure that you check and see if there's any visible damage to anything. Missing knobs is a huge one, right? Like I've seen people selling radios and knobs missing. I'm like, are you kidding? At that price, you're just selling radios?
I got a bunch of videos on fixing knobs on radios. I got another one coming out soon too.
Knobs are easy to fix, and hell,
And,
now you can print them.
The other one I
right,
had on
right.
here was high pressure sales tactics. So if you're maybe at a ham fest and you're talking to somebody, and they're like, "Hey, would you so maybe they got it marked at $500, and you say, "Hey, what if I gave you 400?" And they're like, "Deal." You know what I mean? Like I think I might worry about that a little bit as well. Anybody who's overly eager to get rid of it. Now everybody sells equipment because they want money to do something differently instead of having it tied up in that equipment. But if somebody's overly anxious to get rid of it, I mean, I've seen people attempt to negotiate with a seller, and sellers be like, "Hey, you know what? I appreciate your interest in a piece of equipment, but you're offering me way too low of a price for it. Just we're done here."
Move
Right?
on.
And yeah, send them along.
So apparently that's
Oh, there we go.
$721 US. And then
Yeah, I
it
wouldn't
includes an
have
LDG tuner, which is another 150 American.
Oh, they got a tuner with it. Can you tell what tuner it is though? It's probably if it's the
The
Z100.
Z100.
Yeah,
it
that's
looks
not. The Z100 is like what, $100, $150.
It says LDG IT 100, I think,
Which is the
means
ICOM specific
Just
version.
the icon version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got the right cables on it, so it's powered off of the radio's back
off the
port.
radio.
Would
But-
would you guys spend 100,000? Would you do 1,000 on that? I wouldn't.
I don't even like the radio, so I wouldn't buy it.
I don't really
It's got
wanna
the
spend-
USB sound card built in. It's yeah, I don't know. It's close.
It's on the high side of close. I mean,
You get a
If I had-
7,300 for that.
if I had, I've had a 7,300. I want a 7,200. And
Well,
if it was
you're looking
ca-
for that
if
as
it was-
experience. You're not looking at it as buying your first radio.
No,
Right.
So if somebody
if-
came to you and said, "Hey, should I buy this setup for my first radio?" Would you?
I'd probably wave them off of it. Yeah. I don't know. Although it's got the tuner with it, so that's kind of a deal, especially for a new ham.
I don't know if I'd do that. I think Williams got
Oh,
it.
spare microphone, manuals,
Yeah.
whatever that little brown box is.
That's probably the microphone box.
I like that zoom in where it doesn't zoom in at all. That's
Yeah, I
also
know.
very useful. Plus that up. See what happens. It
probably.
goes the wrong way.
Let's see if I can.
It's got that.
minus it up.
It's got that janked up.
Nope.
Power,
Yeah, we're
power
back.
cable.
That's all
that
you get.
Somebody terminated for you.
It looks like a 1S HM something 116 maybe. I can't tell.
Oh, that's the
So
one.
hand mic. Did the 7200 have issues? I don't know.
I mean, if that was camo, I'd be whipping out the plastic right now to
Yeah.
fulfill all
That
y'all's
was a
gratuitous,
field upgrade by Gigaparts, by the way. That wasn't an ICOM thing. Gigaparts bought them, painted them, and then sold them as special. Which
I think Icom
kudos
sold
to
them in green though, didn't they?
I could have sworn it was all aftermarket Gigaparts work.
Maybe I don't know.
How old is the 7200? Old. Like most things in ham radio, older than it should be, but still sold as brand new.
Yeah, probably 20
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah, I mean that's even with the tuner, that's $700. I'm like, and Ape's right. For just a little more, you can get a brand new 7300 with a really nice screen, or a 991A, which is a really nice radio with a shitty screen.
Yeah, I wouldn't advocate buying that for $1,000.
I mean, if it was like 500, I even if it's not camo, I'd be clicking it right now probably. But
Here you go. he got one 500 for the radio, 50 for the tuners.
Yeah. A Giga Green powder coat.
Another TO. Love it, brother.
Boom. And so here
Oh,
would
I
be
like
our,
that radio.
our conclusion.
Is that the 847?
No,
Sorry. Crap, now I can't remember the name of 570.
yeah, that's a Kenwood,
I
right?
knew I'd seen it before. I couldn't remember which
You've
one it
owned
was.
one before.
Yes, I've owned one.
Research before you buy. So the thing is that if you're going out to look to buy an HF radio that's used, probably scour all the common sites for that particular radio. I know that some people go out and say, "Hey, I just want to see what's out there," and then they might randomly buy whatever radio is available. I think you're okay if you do that from like a main trading company or RNL or something like that, because they will honor a return policy for that. I wouldn't do that off of a stranger, but just know what they're going for, what the market is. Know if there's any problems with those. Maybe read some reviews and see if anybody who bought them, had problems with finals or with the screen or receive or anything like that. So you know
a
what you're
good way
buying.
of testing that out, checking the market price for a used radio.
You can go and look at eBay for that particular radio, and then look at sold ones, and then you can get a list of what they've been selling for.
If you do that, anything in green actually did sell, and then eBay charges 13.5% commission on the sale. So like subtract that off the top, and that's what a person-to-person transaction would be.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Oh,
If
Oh,
you
it
can
hurts
get your
to sell
hands on it.
$1,000 radio and lose $130 on it.
Yeah,
Way
for
to go,
sure.
Kathy.
What is Kathy saying?
She says?
She says not
200
enough
watches
likes.
and only
Yeah,
49.
what's up with you?
She's right.
You people. Evaluate thoroughly. If you can get your hands on the radio, that is the best way to do this. So if you have a ham bro that says, "Hey, I'll just lend you this radio. You can use it for a couple weeks. If you like it, you can buy it from me. If not, just give it back."
That's double
the
trust too. That's a real friend, and you better be a real friend in return.
yeah. I mean, people go out of their way to do that. So what you shouldn't do is let buying or selling a radio to somebody ruin a friendship. It's not worth it.
Right.
Negotiate.
Well, so that's the
wisely.
thing about Toads. Like Ronnie and I have traded enough stuff back and forth. He said he wanted something from me, and he's gonna pay me like in 2 weeks. I shipped it. It's yours,
I
Ronnie.
can't
I
even
trust
tell
you.
you the amount of stuff that we've all sent back and forth to each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in a lot of cases, it's something that's just sitting on the shelf. It's not even being used.
Yep.
So make friends in the ham community, but
Eight
don't
bought
make
my
friends by starting.
847.
Some
he
guy
trusts
reached
me.
out to me and asked if I knew anybody who was giving away radios. Helping. He said if I knew anybody who was helping new hams, and I was like, "What do you mean by helping new hams?" And then he was like, "Well, with gear and stuff like that." I was like, "Are you looking to buy something, or are you looking for a donation?" And he came back.
Well,
and
I'm
said,
on a fixed income. Yeah, 'cause
Right.
we're all on a fixed income. Who's not on a fixed income?
Well, then find another hobby. I mean,
Well, he came
radio
back
is
and said,
not-
"Hey, I'm just looking for. I'm essentially he's looking for somebody to donate an HF radio to him." And I said, "Well, when you find the person, let me know because I need a new radio myself." And
Right.
that said, I had a friend who didn't have an HF radio and needed one. I'd hook him up. Do you know what
yeah.
I'm saying? But not some stranger off the street.
If I had any friends, I mean, I might, but
Right.
I gave my
right.
nephew a nice
Sorry, Jim. Even I don't like you.
TS 450, 440, 440.
Yeah, but show up and participate. Don't send an email through the back door going, "Hey, I want a free radio," and like never join the stream, never comment, never be in the community. Don't go to a
Right.
ham fest. Don't
Right.
get on. Like Frank in the chat. I worked with him on a power supply. He's mentioning it here, and I did. I held it out for him. He said he wanted it. I took care of him. He took care of me. Everything's good. But I wouldn't do that if Frank didn't show up every day. And Frank wouldn't trust me if I didn't show up every day. Like, be present.
He was
100%.
MIA there for a while. I don't know.
He was working. We were talking. It's good.
Okay. It was just-
I think Don is probably my best friend here, and because we're like Statler and Waldorf, kind of.
And 5 SKT, Don.
Yeah. And I think Don should let me borrow his Mercury amp for an unspecified amount of time, longer than several months.
I sent Don an
He
antenna.
would.
The main reason I did it is because I saw the one he tried to build. Now, I wasn't
Yeah.
going to ever bring that up, but that was the real
oh.
reason. I said, I just got to help him out.
James
tell you,
sent me
Don,
his
he showed
703,
the
which
picture to
was
me,
in
too.
the thumbnail. I played with it for a while and sent it back, and then James just moved it on to a new ham.
Oh, he sold it?
Yeah, got a good deal
I
on
told-
selling it.
I
and
told
worked out
Javi
pretty
about it.
well.
Javi goes, "Does it have a box?" I ain't paying that if it don't have a box.
It's
See,
got
I
an
don't-
Apache case.
The box has nothing to do with the condition of the radio, but whatever. The other thing I had on here is negotiate wisely. So if I'm selling something, I usually sell it pretty damn cheap because I want to get rid of it. And
Mhm.
if I'm selling it to a bro, and there's any problems or whatever, I just would rather give somebody a really
It does,
good price
Chris.
on it.
And you're gonna get
Um,
it back too.
But remember, you want to get a good price, but so does the guy selling it, right?
Mhm.
And so you don't want to be taken advantage of, but they don't want to be taken advantage of either. Make a fair deal. You know what I mean?
And an informed transaction between consenting adults.
Right. Just make it a fair deal. And the other one is buy with confidence. If at any point when you're buying used radio equipment, if you feel uneasy or you suspect something or it just doesn't seem right, walk away. There's plenty of other fish in the sea, right?
Yeah. And Ape
Yeah.
Ape mentioned this earlier. If there's this is like a phishing
He's
email
overdriving
almost.
it.
The more high pressure tactics that you're getting, the more red flags should be waving in your face to back off the deal. You know?
Right.
I mean, speaking for me personally, if I tell somebody I got somebody else asking about this too, I'm literally telling you the truth. But you still shouldn't believe me because that's a great sales tactic. Well, I got 3 other guys pinging me about this right
I
now.
got somebody on the phone right now. Call me about it.
Yeah, I mean, if I did, I'd be getting their money and I wouldn't be wasting my time talking to you. So you just got to look for those red flags. And if there's a sales pressure on you to act fast or this is the deal of a lifetime, it's probably not. But you just got to be careful. I mean, I am probably the polar opposite of Ape as far as buying and selling stuff online. I'm a lot more trusting than Ape, which I know you people find hard to believe, but I am. And knock on wood, I've never really had a problem. The only problem I've got now is the 857 has zebra stripes, and it didn't have them when I got them, and I knew it was prone to them when I bought the thing. It is what it is.
You can buy the
Yeah.
replacement kit for that off of
Yeah.
AliExpress. So I mean,
Yeah. Or you can buy this, which is a hell of a lot easier to use than trying to replace the screen on the thing. So
well, I mean, you're using it in the
I would have bought the color one if I was going to buy it, though.
yeah, the color one, which I didn't know about when I bought this one, the color one is also 3 times the cost of this.
Oh, was
you
it?
can actually use an
150.
Android
How
tablet.
much was that one?
This was like $45 or $50. The color one's like $130.
You can do. You can get that's Bluetooth. I'm assuming. I didn't see your video that you did on
Oh
it.
no, it's
It's
a
not,
cable.
it's not.
It's a cable.
It's
You
not.
can
It's-
either hook it in through the microphone or with the wherever the hell it is, the cat cable that they include with it. So you can hook it in either way.
Well, the
I've got the Bluetooth
857 and the 817 have a Bluetooth thing that you can buy. You can buy them for like $3 off of AliExpress or Amazon or
Oh.
eBay, and you plug it in. It's just a little Bluetooth dongle, and then it would actually work with a application that you used to be able to get for free off the Google Play Store. I don't know if you still can.
I'll have to check on that.
And then you could use it on your Android tablet, and it's pretty
That's not that
nice.
great.
Yeah, it doesn't give you all of the
Mm-hmm.
features.
This doesn't either.
Jim's looks more like a real screen than the one. It looks kind of like a cartoon, right?
I mean, this is a
The Android
standard
one.
LCD screen. The an Ape, like you're talking about, this doesn't give you all the data. What it does give you is the frequency readout in very large old people happy numbers.
Well, the one I
And
was
then
talking
you can
about,
change also, and it'll show you like an S meter, your SWR, ALC, and power. I think.
yeah, the app that I'm talking about off the Google Play Store actually allows you to like change frequency and all that stuff from the
Mhm.
tablet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
Push to talk from the tablet and a bunch of stuff like that.
We
Thank
have
you
a
for
new
the super sticker, Cam.
Appreciate it,
Hey,
Cam.
thanks, Cam. Yeah, you
All
can
right.
actually operate the phone or the radio a little bit. I don't think you can do everything with it, though. Well, I forget. I hooked mine up one time that way.
And there's just the tip from James Hannibal.
It was full of tips. Just the tip. Yeah. And that's what would worry me about selling on eBay. And see, this is where I shouldn't be saying this, but again, I'm trusting. First of all, if I'm selling you something, it works when it left here. And if it doesn't work at your house, I have no way of knowing whether you were screwing with it or not.
Or it could have just got bumped around, right? Like,
It
I mean,
could
that
have
happened.
gotten bumped in the mail, and I've had one
yeah.
case where a trade I worked with somebody.
Oh, right.
The
That
screen
kid.
was jacked.
Mhm.
No, not the kid. That's two. I forgot about that one.
Oh, that was a different one.
Right, to see how they start
well,
coming. But when I
I've-
bought that Yaesu from
I've-
you, and it didn't transmit at first. I had to factory reset it. I'm just bringing that up.
That was software. That wasn't hardware.
No, I think it just got jostled around or something like that in transit.
Well, I got an FT DX 1200. I don't remember what it was. I did this complicated three-way trade thing a couple years ago. And the guy that I had the radio he got from me was the Yaesu, and the screen was all flickery when he got it. And we worked it out. It was no big
Chris
deal.
Andrews is calling you a
out
boy. Yeah,
Yep.
that was the
Calling
kid.
you out, man.
That was the
That
kid.
was the
That was the
400,
kid.
the FTM 400.
Yeah, but you fixed it.
Yeah, I got
And then
it
you
fixed.
sold
I
an
did not fix
antenna.
it.
You sold an antenna to Joe Brett that never arrived. I mean, that's another one.
And you fixed that too.
Yeah.
Because
I
that's your
fixed
because
that
you're a
too.
ham bro, Jim. Yeah.
I'm a
Did
handle.
No,
Did the
I
post
take
office ever
videos
send
and
you back?
pictures and stuff.
What? Ape first?
The post
'Cause
office never paid you back on that.
I'm not going to talk about it in a public forum.
So when I send out a
still
radio
working
to
on
somebody, I take pictures of how I packed it in case the post office wants to complain that it wasn't
That's a
packed
good-
right and that's
that's a
why
good
it's
idea.
damaged. And then I take pictures of it working. I just sold my Starlink dish and I took a ton of video and pictures and screen caps and all kinds of stuff. And there's
Newspaper
if
of the day.
if the person does come back, it's like, dude, no way. This thing worked.
I
100%.
was sending a bunch of HTs to a buddy. And I didn't want them. I had a bunch of HTs, and so I was sending them out at the post office, and I'm getting ready to mail it, and they're like, "Does this have any?" You know, they ask you all the dangerous stuff,
Right.
and they're like, "Are they lithium batteries?" Yes, they're lithium batteries, and they're like, "Are they new or used lithium batteries?" I was like, "Some are new, some are used."
Yeah.
And I said, "But they're all connected to the devices, and they're not fully charged." And they're like, "Well, you can't send used lithium batteries in the mail."
Okay, then don't
No,
buy
they
it.
said they said I couldn't send lithium batteries. That was the first stance.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what's odd about this is that you delivered these to my house. Right. So somebody did, and you transported them, and the box that you transported them in had the sticker on it. And they're like, yeah, you can't do that. And then I was like, can you just get, pull to Karen? I'm like, can you just get the manager? So then the manager comes out and says that you can't send used ones. I can only send new lithium batteries. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Because I send them via USPS all the time.
Yeah.
And
They
then
don't
so
know.
they agreed that they could, but they put a special hazard sticker on there. And
Yeah,
then it said
I get
ground,
that all the time.
ground ship
I
only.
have
And then
I've
they
never
shipped it by
heard
air
that.
anyway. Yeah.
I've never heard that. I always, if I ship any, I try to remember to tell them that it's lithium batteries, but sometimes I may forget too.
Well, here's the thing: when you're shipping stuff, be honest about it.
Well, I mean, I
like,
am. If I remember, if I forget, I legitimately forget.
yeah. But what I'm saying is that we're all older now. We have a lot more to use. It's not like we're 20 years old. If you send something and there is a problem and they do trace it back to you, they will nail you to a cross.
Hmm
You know what I mean? So it doesn't pay the extra, whatever it is, to ship it. Honestly, is my take on that.
Yeah.
But I'm more risk adverse than Jim is.
You think?
Yeah.
Joe Brett is researching through some squirrely contact he met at the back of the UPS dock somewhere in Mississippi or possibly Tennessee, and they are trying to back trace and figure out what happened to it. Considering it's in a box 4 feet long by 5 inches square, I don't know how they could miss it, but
right.
I told Joe Brett some sketchy UPS ham has probably liberated. He's like, oh, this isn't really
Would you-
light bulbs, is it?
Before one of the big ham fests, my phone broke. I don't know if you guys remember this, and I was all pissy because I didn't think I was going to be able to stream while we were there. So I ordered a new iPhone. I don't know if you guys remember or not, and they sent it to me, and when I got it, the box was empty.
I do
And I
not
was-
remember that.
And I was all mad about it, and I called and I yelled at them and all that stuff, and they weren't going to give me a new phone because I'd used my upgrade fee on that one, and they're like, well, we need to track this one down before we give you. And I hemmed and hawed until they sent me a new phone. And that other one never got here, because they're like, well, how do we know that you don't have it? And I'm like, can you see if I'm still using my old one? I was super bent out of shape about that.
We had an employee do her phone swap, right? That you buy a new one and they send you the empty box to mail your old one back for your trade in. So they give you, like hundreds of dollars off. We saw UPS pick up the package on the security camera, but it
never had it.
Never got it scanned in UPS, and she was fighting that for months and months and months.
Here's what I don't understand, right? Like this guy, he seems to be an expert on everything: lightning strikes, used equipment, whatever the topic is du jour. And now he's an expert on the post office and the FCC. But the MF can't solder a damn connector, son. I mean, come on, how you expect you're going to have to do some the talking a lot, but then when it comes time to show it on the camera, you're falling short. Son.
Frank, there's like 1 million guys on YouTube that can show you how to correctly solder. Just watch one of them.
I mean, there's 4
Please.
of them sitting right here who don't suck at
Please
it. I'm
watch
just
one.
saying.
We even sent him a soldering gun.
I personally
I know, so we can't blame
selected-
that now.
Personally, I selected the soldering device for him off of the Amazon. I clicked with care and concern for his horrid, wretched, egregiously shitty soldering. And it said, "This will
Solderoids,
help,"
as they've been come to be known in
as they've
infamy.
been called solderoids, yes, which is many less words than hideous and egregious. And
I saw a thing recently where a guy was using a cell phone jammer when he drove to work because he didn't feel
saw
safe
that.
in his car.
I saw that.
He didn't feel safe in his car, so he would jam everybody's cell phone so they couldn't talk on phones near
got
him while he was
jammed.
driving. FCC fined the guy $45,000.
He got jammed.
Nice.
Got jammed up.
Jammed
So
up
I,
hard.
I'm just saying that's a little contrary to
Good
some
twist.
comments that we have in the chat.
You're not supposed to put
Anyhow, we ran over by 11 minutes.
I can't
So-
Hit
believe
the button
you-
now.
You didn't have to pee 3 or 4 times already by now.
I'm gonna hit the button